Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Just What I Am playing Final Fantasy XIV. Last episode we started our school life over here in frickin' Ishgard. And today we're gonna go and continue with these quests. If it isn't my trusted associate, back from the field. As you will doubtless have seen for yourself, change is sweeping through Ishgard, and the veil, which once threatened to smother the hearts and minds of our people, is slowly but surely being lifted. 'Tis as if our fair city has been born anew, and it is in large part thanks to you, which is not to say our problems have come to an end. No, the silent struggles between the lowborn and highborn goes on, growing more fractious by the day. I have come to believe that someone, somewhere, is fanning the flames of hatred to further their own ends, and I am convinced now more than ever that Ulla's sudden disappearance, alongside that of volume 11 of the Article of Hellenic Polity, is no mere coincidence. Both she and it, after all, were passionate advocates of equality among men. As to who is responsible and what their true intentions might be, I cannot say. Ascertaining these things will no doubt require that we first find the missing girl, and, as of this moment, our best hope of learning her whereabouts may rest on discovering the fate of the book. As such, I shall continue searching for any clue which might lead us to the missing tome. In the meantime, I ask that you trouble the students for any information they might have on Ulla. Failing that, find out if they have witnessed any unusual occurrences around the Scholasticate. Anything at all. Well then, let us be about it. The place has been so distracted lately. I'm lucky if I can get a simple good morning from her. Ever since Ulla left, she's been rushing about the city like a madwoman, looking for any information she can find on the girl, that she might have an excuse to talk to Theomasent. The only really unexpected change I've seen of late is in Lei's attitude towards Gromavois. He really seems to have warmed to him. Why, he even went as far as to initiate a conversation the other day. He spoke to me, it is true, but was not out of fondness. He merely hates me very slightly less than he values Ulla's safe return. One of the seniors told me she'd been diagnosed with something called lung rot, and that she's too weak to attend any of her classes. Thinking back, I did hear her coughing from time to time, but I had no idea it was anything so serious. The lessons of Volume 11 seem to resonate deeply with Ulla. She would often stay up into the small hours, reading and rereading in them. Mayhap they spurred her to steal away in the night and take up with the revolutionaries? How many times must I say this? Ulla was not coerced into leaving, nor was she abducted. Nor did she die from a fictitious disease. She quit the Scholasticate of her own free will for reasons known only to her and the Fury. Really, is it so difficult to understand? Welcome back, Mrs. Adair. What a pleasant surprise it is to see you. How might I be of service to you today? Theomasent. Well, in the wake of Ulla's withdrawal, he and Lei have devoted their every waking moment to the task of uncovering her whereabouts. They are quite adamant that the girl must be found and persuaded to resume her studies here. As a matter of fact, they approached me earlier today to beg leave to travel to Gorgon Mills, claiming that a trip there would yield the information they needed to accomplish their aim. No sooner had I granted their request than I rushed off. Such compassion and eagerness to serve others is a rarity, even among the clergy. I cannot tell you how proud I am of what fine men they have become. Do you want to go back over to this place? Have fun. You know, there's like one thing which I think I will really enjoy when I move out on my own. Silence. No dog barking constantly. I like the dog, mind you, but man, the barking. Lynn, is it really you that we should be reunited thus amidst the snowy peaks of Curthis? Why, it is nothing short of a miracle. I sense the hand of the divine at work. Alona has answered our prayers. Theo, Lynn has no idea what you're talking about. By all means explain, but do it slowly and from the beginning. My apologies, excitement got the better of me, Lynn. This is the resting place of Father Choiseul, the man who found room in his heart for 2 wives from the street, granting them the opportunity to rise above their station in life. Do you perchance recall the book that was stolen from Theo and burned by that lost soul we once thought of as a brother? It was one of the last memories we had of the man. Now all that's left to remind us of him is this place. Indeed, and while we often came here to seek solace and guidance in his blessed presence, today our purpose is more practical. With our search for Eula at an impasse, we had hoped he might grant us inspiration. And that is why I believe our meeting with you here, in this hour of need, is a sign from above. Mayhap the work of Father Choiseul himself. I take from this that we are not meant to bear this burden alone, that the obstacles we face can only be surmounted by working in concert with another. Eula's disappearance has thrown the scholasticate into turmoil, and the long-simmered mistrust between those of noble and ignoble birth has boiled over into outright hatred. Now more than ever we must seek to join hands with like-minded souls who understand that this malice will only serve to sow further discord. Like-minded souls such as you. I am reminded of the words of Volume 11 of the Article of Hellenic Equality. Of the furious love will all men receive, and by the balance of her spear will all be set free. We must strive to love our neighbors even as we love ourselves, just as Alone does. To do otherwise is to defy her will. Yes, and while we will surely be rewarded for our tolerance, the highborn bastards who would sooner pretend the passage doesn't exist won't be so lucky. Why, they may even find themselves on the receiving end of her spear for everything they've put us through. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? We still haven't found a single clue as to Eula's whereabouts. Fear not, Lay. With Lynn at our side, I have faith that we shall find her, and that she will soon retake her rightful place in the hallowed halls of St. Endelim's Scholasticate. I hope you're right. At any rate, we've done what we can to do, so there's no point freezing our arses off out here. Until we meet again, Lynn. Okay. I'm going insane. Mrs. Adair, I trust you were able to find Theomacent and Lay. Ah, I see. Yes, the two of them have always shared a special bond with Father Choiseul, one that only seems to grow stronger with his passing. It is encouraging to see that they have taken their lessons to heart and continue to work so fervently for the good of their fellow students. I fear, however, that a dark and treacherous path lies ahead of them. I only pray that when the time comes, they are ready for whatever challenges await. Mrs. Adair, just the one I was hoping to see. I'm sorry to say that a rather disturbing rumor has been circulating around the Scholasticate of late. One which claims that Arcabadin had arranged for Eula to be taken away. That the boy scorns those who favor different interpretations of the scriptures I do not deny, but I labor to believe he would go so far. To engage in such conduct would risk not only his position as prefect, but the very honor of House de Mail, both of which mean a great deal to him. Regretfully, no one seems to know whence these ridiculous rumors came. They would have been conducted by anyone, and for any number of reasons. In any event, with many still unsure what to make of Eula's sudden withdrawal, these wild accusations have only served to deepen the divide between our seminarians. At this rate, I fear others may decide they no longer wish to remain at the Scholasticate, and so I would be most grateful if you would consent to investigate this matter. Should you oblige my request, I suggest you begin by speaking with L'Abersoir. I am told he has spent the past few days looking into Eula's activities prior to her departure, likely with the intent to absolve Arcaban of suspicion. Right. So many. What is it? Wait, what is that called again? What is the instrument? Oh god, I can't remember what the instrument is called. Dang it. Like a church instrument. Like basically like a church piano. Is it an organ? Is it an organ? Looks inside my body? Yes. Yes. But I think it's still called an organ though. Right? Or like church pipes maybe? I don't know. I have no idea. I am at a loss, my friends. Let me guess, you caught wind of the rumors and thought you would come and investigate, yes? Well, I'll have you know that Archer Baudin is innocent. He has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with any of this nonsense. I have known him since childhood. While he might occasionally seem somewhat high-handed, mayhap even callous, he would never do anything to harm anyone. If that is not enough, there is also the fact that in the days and weeks prior to Ula's disappearance, I was not out of his company for more than a few moments. He could not possibly have committed the crime of which he is accused without my knowledge. Whoever orchestrated all of this clearly planned for the blame to fall squarely on his shoulders. That much is certain. Yet numerous as the enemies of House Mail are, I struggle to think who would resort to something so underhanded. Unless it was the girl herself. Don't you see? What better way to besmirch the good name of one of Ishgard's foremost houses, and win over your peers, than to vanish and later spread rumors that he was somehow responsible, and then go and plant... That is to say... Oh, by the Fury, I pray I'm not making a mistake. But first, I would have you swear to tell none but the Inspector what I'm about to reveal. I stumbled across this, volume 11 of the Articles of Hellenic Polity. It had been conspicuously placed in Archibald's dormitory room, with Eula's favorite bookmark tucked between its pages. I need hardly tell you what would happen if people were to learn of this. 'Tis but a mercy that I chanced upon it, and not one more credulous. However, now that we have deduced who the perpetrator is, it should be simple enough to restore Archibald's reputation. All we need to do is prove she and her revolutionary friends are responsible. Were I a braver and more foolish man, I would march down to the broom and demand answers. But you, a hero blessed with the strength of 100, need not fear for your well-being there as I do. You're my only hope. Please, I beg of you. Take the book and use it to find the girl and prove these foul rumors false. Burp, 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 burp. I am a robot, and I am bippity-bop. Do, 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 do. Ah, Lynn, you're returned. Please tell me your inquiries have been more fruitful than mine own. The infamous tome of parables on equality said to have mysteriously vanished of the library shelves shortly prior to Eula's equally inexplicable disappearance. It's the missing volume. However did you find it? Sir Lebersois believes that Eula or one of her revolutionary friends planted it in Archimedan's room as part of an elaborate scheme to defame House the Mail. I continue to be amazed by what ridiculous conspiracies these children can convince themselves are true. As if the future of Asgardian society shall be shaped by the actions of some few ambitious seminarians. Anyway, I will allow that she may have been consorting with others who supported Reformation, and were she persuaded to engage in rebellious acts, the dormitory prefect would have been an ideal target. Alternatively, Archibald was so arrogant and careless that he thought nothing of leaving incriminating evidence in plain sight. He would hardly be the first. Needless to say, speculations will avail us not at this juncture. First, I must see that what I can learn from this book. In the meantime, I would have you go and speak with the people of the Broom. See what they know, if anything, about Eula, where she might have gone. If anything, about Eula, where she might have gone, whom she might have visited, and so forth. Failing that, keep your ears open for news of unusual happenings. One can never be too well informed. Beep, beep, beep. Boop. Beep. It is intriguing to me that there's like that this quest is so involved. It's like so random, kind of. I distinctively recall telling you once that my patrons appreciate their privacy. Still, I know you wouldn't ask if it wasn't important. So this time I'll oblige your curiosity. This hasn't got anything to do with your missing girl, mind, but a few days back, this one fellow comes and pays his tab in full. A surprising development, as I'd long since written it off as a loss. Came into money, he says, and has a mind to settle his debts, pleased as I am by his changing fortunes. All the while I'm wondering who he left bleeding in an alley to get that much gil at once. Hello, Bricht. Leave me be, I've got nothing to say to the likes of you. Huh? What was that? You think I might have helped kidnap some highborn girl? God's sakes. You and Tiamat make a fine pair, you do, acting all high and mighty, pretending you care, but the only time you come around is when you're looking for someone to blame. Sorry to disappoint you, but I've got nothing to do with this Eula's disappearance. If you ask me, you'd have better luck harassing those blue bloods in the pillars. After all, they know better than anyone how to deal with inconveniences, right? What an asshole! You're not about to ask me to do you a favor, are you? You'll forgive me for being suspicious, but just the other day a man draped from head to toe in fine silks approached me, all nervous and twitching. He tossed a purse at my feet, saying the gil knit was mine for the taking. All I had to do was head to the Crozier and buying a couple vials of cough syrup. Tempting as it was, I wasn't about to risk getting involved in someone's shady scheme, so I told him to piss off, and that was that. Excellent timing, then. I have findings to share. With Eula's bookmark... while Eula's bookmark suggests that Volume 11 was within her possession at some point, it does not tell us when that point may have been. With this in mind, I decided to pay a visit to the seminary library. Sure enough, her signature was in the logs, indicating that she was the last person to have borrowed the tome. I compared the handwriting to samples from her old assignments, to be sure, and found no irregularities. One might argue that this supports Laboursoir's theory, but it is far from conclusive evidence. Ugh. I suppose you cannot use those vaunted powers of yours to grant us a vision of the past and spare us further hardship? I thought not. Then we shall rely on the more traditional methods. So, what came of your inquiries in the room? Do tell. Nothing, but that is to be expected, is it not? Again, I am reminded of how ridiculous the two scenarios presented to us, purporting grand conspiracies truly are. Is it not more likely that both the girl and Arcabadin are innocent of wrongdoings? We must continue searching for more clues. Even the most insignificant tidbit may be all it takes for the pieces of this puzzle to fall into places. Or into place. Whatever. Seeing how reluctant some of the citizens were to answer your questions, I believe it best for me to take over investigations in the room. As for you... Ah yes, I'm given to understand that Blazy and her friends have been conducting their own investigations. Though I'm loath to admit it, given the fact that they are seminarians, so I should not be surprised if they have noticed something we overlooked. You may as well go and see what Blazy has learned. If you cannot find her at the Scholasticate, I imagine someone can point you in the right direction. I accept the quests. Oh hey, my phone is telling me to do a fucking software update. No! Adios. Okay, give me a hot second. Okay, there we go. Alright. That is a question I too would like to know the answer to. It feels as though we haven't spoken in ages. I did, however, overhear some of the other seminarians say that they saw Theomacent at the Ark of the Venerable. If so, Blazy is certain to be close by. Oh, what with them both working to bring Eula back, Theomacent and Blazy had good reason to spend a great deal of time together. These past few days they've been running around the city making inquiries. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they were up to today. Hasn't she been following Theomacent around like a lost puppy this past fortnight? Find him and you'll probably find her. That's what I say. I don't know how he puts up with it, frankly. I suppose that, unlike some of the seniors, he's simply too kind for his own good. Blazy, I haven't seen her all day. I expect she's gone out again with friends to look for Yula. I still don't understand why they bother. The girl's probably off gallivanting about with heretics and revolutionaries. Even if they find her, I doubt she'll want to return. Of course I don't know where she is. While I may be in charge of the dormitory, it is not my responsibility to hold the seminarians' hands or wipe their arses. As you should well know, in light of recent events, our Capitaine has not the luxury to concern himself with such trivialities. Jeez. Look at these dudes being guys. Burp, burp, burp. 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 Is she a yandere? Please don't let her be a yandere. Hello. God, you startled me. I'm here for Yula's sake, lest you wonder. This is all part of my investigation, I swear. Wait, you're not a seminarian, and yet you seem so familiar. Ah, I know, you're my brother's associate. To whom might you be referring? My apologies, Mrs. Lynn. With all the stories I've heard from Briarden about you, I'd forgotten I've yet to introduce myself. I am Blazy, Briarden's younger sister. Pleasure to meet you. So he sent you to see what I've learned. Then I'm afraid you'll be disappointed. I spent all morning questioning merchants, watchmen, and random passers-by. And they told me absolutely nothing of interest. I recorded their statements for good measure, but quite honestly, it was a waste of ink and paper. Blazy, what are you doing here? Theo, I fancy meeting you here. I was just taking a moment to review these testimonies I had taken and thought to, Ah, but of course. You then thought to come and share your findings with us. Yes, that's it. While it might be a bit much, I wanted to make sure I did not omit a single word. What a fury, Blazy. This is over 100 films long. I cannot even begin to imagine the amount of effort it took to organize all this information. It's incredibly heartening to know that there are others as dedicated as us to seeing Yula returned. Let's have a look, shall we? Investigation log entry 1. Master of his guardian markets, Mistress Alize's problems. Well, with this recent run of bad weather, we've had plenty. Why, just the other day, my back started to give me trouble again, and I've had to hobble from place to place. Investigation log entry 2. House for Tom Stewart, Honorwa. I cannot guarantee that this news will be great interest to you and yours, but a 12-point proposal for the reformation of the Inquisition has recently been tabled by Lord Arthur Well in the House of Lords. Investigation log entry 10. Weaponsmith Albert. Ever since the Blue Bastard and his lapdog put an end to the war, profits have plummeted. I've had to sell my best stock for a fraction of what it's worth just to make ends meet. Investigation log entry 21. Carvery, Meston, no. I've barely enough time to fill my customers' orders, much less keep an eye out for foolish. God damn it, Theo. That's enough. None of that rubbish is even remotely relevant. Now, don't you think you're being a touch too hasty? We've not gotten even a third of the way through. You may yet learn something of value. Let's not dismiss Blazy's hard work out of hand. Thank you, Theo, for your kind words. I'm glad you think it may be of use. Fine, I'll just briefly entertain this thought and say that something in these notes will help us find Yula. How exactly do you propose that we determine what that is? Lay, we needn't do a thing, for though we may lack the skill, to discern the relevant from the mundane. A certain inspector we know and love is a dab hand at such things, no? But of course, Inspector Bryden. Brilliant idea, Cramovois. Lynn, if you would, take the scroll to him and see what he can make of it. I doubt even he could make heads or tails of this rubbish. In any event, it's out of our hands. We should continue with our search. It's always so weird how, like, a microphone always has, like, trouble picking up whistling. It makes it kind of weird. Or maybe it's already been changed? Like, maybe me changing all of my audio settings? I've not really listened to me whistling in a microphone since I tend to avoid it. We meet again. Thou does he have much to share? I know, I do. I know I do. Do you recall Gibrion's patron who recently paid off his debts and a gentleman attempting to attain cough syrups? Upon further investigation, it turns out that they share one astoundingly similar facial feature, a pale, raised scar running through the top of the left cheekbone to their jaw. It so happens that this description also matches that of a notorious thug who is known to hang around outside taverns and harass patrons for coin, until an unexpected windfall saw his fortunes vastly improve. He is now rumored to make a living as a traveling merchant, though where he goes and what he sells none can say. We shall find out in due time, but enough of my discoveries. What have you learned? A scroll full of testimonies written in Blazy's meticulous hand, outlining any dubious activities shopkeepers and citizens of the Jeweled Crozier may have recently witnessed. What a fury! This is longer than some scripture, and she compiled it all in less than a single day, you say? Remarkable. Remarkable. Investigation log entry 1. Master of Guardian Markets, Mr. Salazar. On the other hand, the Crozier has been seen increased trading in oils, furs, and other goods folks begin to crave and engross cold, so in that regard I can't complain. Number 13. Purveyor of sundries, Pas de Villiers. The other day there was this one fellow who wanted to purchase ropes for a young woman, a merchant he said, but I've never known one who couldn't be bothered to haggle, not that I minded of course. Investigation log entry 21, recovery Mr. Nyon. Now barely enough time to fill my customers' orders, much as keep an eye out for foolish girls getting themselves into trouble. And if you would excuse me, I really must be getting back. I'm expecting several regular customers any minute. Apothecary PN. Mr. Noah has bought my whole stock of cough syrup every day for the past week. Passing strange, needless to say, so I followed him and found out that he was reselling my products to another. The nerve of some people, I tell you. A gentleman procuring cough medicine through a third party. That story has a similar ring to it, does it not? A man with a questionable past recently come into wealth and playing at being a merchant, who so happens to travel with a young girl prone to fits of coughing. Are you thinking what I'm thinking, Lynn? Wait, what? I don't like the... I was not really paying that much attention. And I don't remember the names specifically. Well, Allays is the person from the markets. Passive Allay, Right, the medicine schizoids PM was much watched. I don't like the cut of Mastona's jib. I think it's this over here. Right? We gotta keep, like, track of that store. No, oh no. Perhaps not. It seems to me that Mr. Noah appears to be colluding with our man. In time, you may come to understand how I reached this conclusion, but first we must pay a visit to his stall. I didn't remember his name, so... Given how poorly this man has covered his tracks, I am inclined to believe that he will come to the Crozier sooner rather than later to procure the usual assortment of goods. Let us head there, Lynn. We must follow the trail while it is still fresh. I just accepted a quest. Wait a second though, is that the guy that we were talking about earlier? Like talking with earlier? Because it seems to be on the same spot. Ba-ba-bum. Would indicate a similar spot. If he comes this way to purchase food and medicine from Mestano, as frequently as Blazy's notes indicate, we shouldn't have long. Then, over there, let's guard those robes. That's our man. A pleasure to see you again, sir. The usual. Oh, and don't forget the you-know-what. Hurry then. We mustn't let him get out of our sights. We mustn't let him out of our sights. That was too many words. Really? All that way? Jesus. Our suspect just passed through the Ark of the Worthy, where there are like to be fewer people. Take care not to be spotted. Ready? Yes. Up, up, up. Would appear our suspect is not alone. He has a guard with him. I would like very much to know the contents of their carriage. Keep them distracted while I sneak past, will you? Approach them and announce that you are here to conduct a surprise inspection. You will undoubtedly command their full attention for a sufficient amount of time. Are you ready then? Very good. Alright. Slash say inspection. Inspection? What in the seven hells are you on about? You're no temple knight. You have no right, unless... I trust the goods have been properly secured and the carriage is ready for a quick getaway, if necessary. Right then, where were we? Ah yes, we will not be consenting to your inspection. Now kindly piss off. Damn it, boy, what are you doing? My apologies, sir. I thought I saw a movement around back. Maybe I should go and check. Idiot, can't you see this goon is intending to starting a fight? Take care of her first and conduct your checks after. As for you, you should have run while you still had the chance. Really now, huh? You damnable fools. Really? Oh my god. The fucking shield bash strat. Once again, I'm still the only one I have to fight. Oh yeah. Makes the fights more exciting, question mark. There she is. Lynn, as it was as we suspected. The thug and his guard have been holding Eula hostage in the back of this carriage ever since she vanished. This ordeal has undoubtedly caused her a lot of distress. She does not appear to be physically injured. While you are doubtless eager to question her, as I am, she must be given time to rest and recuperate. These two, on the other hand, need not be afforded any such consideration. You there, what is the meaning of this? It seems all that earlier commotion has drawn the attention of the guards. Excellent. They can deal with the ruffians. I shall escort Eula to the Scholasticate dormitory and speak with the instructors. When all has been settled, let us speak again at St. Remenard's Cathedral. We will do that. Well, we will. There's not really a question. We will do that in this episode. I am, however, going to pause my recording now, and I will be back in, well, in a second. Alright, I am back. And our missing lady is also back. You should be glad to hear that Eula will be fine. Sister Gatel is with her now, tending to her needs as we speak. I expect she will soon be strong enough to answer our questions. Until then, however, we must make do with what information the Temple Knights can extract from the kidnappers. Unfortunately, while the ruffians confessed to abducting Eula in exchange for a large sum of gil, they have told us little else of value thus far. Apparently their employer draped themselves in such thick furs that they could not even say if they were a man or a woman. They claimed this cloaked figure offered no explanation as to why they wanted them to snatch the girl and keep her confined to the carriage indefinitely, and so they had no choice but to keep moving, to stay ahead of the Temple Knights and await further instructions. Hopefully we will learn more as the interrogations progress. I fear, however, our mastermind has cloaked themselves in layer upon layer of secrecy, and it will take more than a few pointed questions to penetrate all of them. But regardless of how well they have hidden their intentions and their identity, we will bring them to justice soon enough. And once we learn all that we can from our friends in the Temple Knight's custody, as well as Eula, we will be that much closer to restoring peace to the Scholasticate. Oh, to shine the light of truth upon the secrets buried in the dark, the children once more come together, that they may know her power and her glory. As we get the second one of these achievements, which will give me nothing. Nice. Ah, Lynn, I was wondering when you'd show up. The Temple Knights have deemed Eula fit to recount the events of her kidnapping, and have taken her into the room just beyond for questioning, with Blazy to accompany for support. It would appear the questioning is done. Let us see what we might learn. Hail, my good man. I am Inspector Briarden, and this is my associate Lynn. I understand that you have spoken with Eula regarding her kidnapping. Is there aught you might share with us? Inspector Bryden, Mrs. Lynn, I fear that it would seem that Lady Eula knows even less of her own abduction than we do. As she tells it, the only people she saw during her captivity were the two thugs now in our custody. We've questioned them thrice over, but they insist their employer had disguised themselves so well they cannot even say for certain if they are a man or a woman, much less give us a description. For what little it's worth, we did learn that the two were once orphans, raised as charges of the sea, to betray the nation that fed and clothed them for a handful of coin. But I must return to my post. Should we come across anything actually significant, of actual significance, I shall be sure to alert you. Blazy, are there any details our friend may have neglected to mention? I fear that Eula's testimony proved entirely unenlightening. There's another development, however, that has been troubling me. Rumors that Arcabadin was behind the abduction are circulating around the Scholasticate once more. Again with those asinine allegations. And this time the students seem convinced more than ever of his guilt, no longer content to sit back and wait for events to take their course. They've been pushing for his expulsion. Theo has been doing his best to convince them to disregard the rumors, but it seems any mention of Arcabadin only serves to fuel their rage. I must hurry back and help him. I suspect that this is less a reflection on the prefect himself than a manifestation of aimless anxiety and fear. Still, I dare say this commotion might prove to be an opportunity in disguise. I shall make my way to the vault to continue my own investigations. In the meantime, I ask that you go and keep an eye on the seminarians and an ear to the ground. And what if those ruffians truly were in his employ? Are we to stand idly by until he betrays one of us as he did poor Eula? His refusal to provide us with anything resembling a reasonable explanation speaks for itself. The boy is guilty, and I say we move to have him expelled from the Scholasticate, effective immediately. Theomacent, I demand that you take lead of this charge. Thank the fury of Cumlin. Since the headmistress called everyone away for an emergency meeting, it's been absolute chaos. They're so insistent they won't listen to a word Theo or I say. Perhaps if you were to speak to them, it would help to soothe their angry feelings. Oi. Stop it. Get some help. On second thought, I dare say you have the right of it. The prefect has the richest of houses of mail at his disposal, and powerful allies is waiting to spring to his aid. We must step back and consider our actions carefully, lest we find ourselves strung up by the necks. So you would suggest we do nothing? The longer we did that without taking action, the greater the risk of him finding us out. And when he does, he'll see every last one of us suffer for it. Mark my words. He is frightened, as are we all, but that is precisely why we must proceed with caution. As you rightly observed, if we act out of anger or despair, we only doom ourselves to failure. Please, ma'am, if you would rally his spirits, as you have calmed mine own. / rally! Of course, it is exactly as you say. Forgive me, my fear had gotten the better of me. Indeed, there is little he can do for us, if we act as one and proceed with due caution. And remember, once Arcabadin is removed from the school, the administration will keep us safe, so we do not fear his retribution ever again. We must move swiftly but surely, to ensure his expulsion. Theomacent, can we count on you to lead us? Thank you, Lynn. Now that everyone is feeling more at ease, let us open the floor for discussion. I welcome any and all opinions, provided that they are delivered in a calm and orderly fashion. I believe there's just cause to expel our Arquebudin. As Lynn was kind enough to point out, however, we should not act brashly. That is why you, Theomacent, with your calm demeanor, are best suited to head our appeal, and to have him removed. What say you? Given the way he's treated you in the past, I can understand why you'd readily assume the worst of him. I cannot help but believe, however, that he too is a victim in all of this. I strain to think that anyone who cares so deeply about the Scholasticate and its inhabitants could commit such an atrocity. Theo, for the Fury's sake, you would defend the very individual who the past several years ridiculed and tortured us? Is it so impossible for you to believe that he is capable of such villainy? Until there is proof to say that he is guilty, we must give him the benefit of the doubt. Seer's right. Lay, I bear no love for Arquebudin either, but even the Temple Knights have been unable to uncover a single piece of evidence tying him to the kidnappings. The same knights who have pulled the wool over our eyes for 1,000 years, stripping us of all we own to protect men like him. How heartening that is to hear. I would have thought that after all you'd endured at Arquebudin's hands, you would stand with us. Seer was wrong. Friends, it would seem the commoner has grown too content under the nobleman's yoke to fight for his ideals. If we are to see justice served, we must do so with our own strength. Our own voices. Let us draft a petition that our grievances might be heard and the Black Guard expelled. How can they be so blind? The villain who kidnapped Yuna is playing us all for fools, stoking the flames of hatred that we might all be consumed by them. Alright, my friends. However, that's where we're gonna leave it off. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Just Read while I was playing Final Fantasy XIV. The next episode we're gonna go and continue with this quest, and I think probably finish it. Goodbye.